discussion on the topic of spiritual communions. During this time of Lent this year, we are unable to go to Mass. And it's important for us to realize that the third commandment still applies today, that we should keep the Sabbath day holy. And so it is that on the Sabbath day, we should be watching Mass on our Facebook page, going to EWTN and watching Masses there, or even there are YouTube Masses that are also available to us. But obviously, even if we are watching these Masses over our internet or over our TV, we cannot do an actual physical communion. And so that is why it is that the church recommends to us that we do spiritual communions. So there's a little information as to a couple of different saints as to what spiritual communions are and the importance of spiritual communions, and then also a decree from the Catholic Church on the value of a spiritual communion. So St. Thomas Aquinas defined the spiritual communion as an ardent desire to receive Jesus in the Holy Sacrament and a loving embrace as though we had already received him. And this is a very beautiful summary of what a spiritual communion is, an ardent desire to receive Jesus in the Holy Sacrament. The basis of this practice was explained by Pope John Paul II, who is a saint, in his encyclical Ecclesia de Eucharistia. In the Eucharist, unlike any other sacrament, the mystery of communion is so perfect that it brings us to the heights of every good thing. Here is the ultimate goal of every human desire, because here we attain God and God joins himself to us in the most perfect union. Precisely for this reason, it is good to cultivate in our hearts a constant desire for the sacrament of the Eucharist. This was the origin of the practice of spiritual communion, which was happily been established in the Church for centuries and recommended by saints who were masters of the spiritual life. St. Teresa of Jesus wrote, "When you do not receive communion and you do not attend Mass, you can make a spiritual communion, which is a most beneficial practice. By it, the love of God will be greatly impressed on you." And then finally, the Church has a decree in 1983 on spiritual communions. In 1983, the Congregation of the Doctrine of the Faith of the Catholic Church declared that all the effects of Holy Communion can be received through spiritual communion for persons in the following situations: those at priestless parishes, those who are prevented from attending Eucharistic celebrations, the divorced, and remarried. And obviously this applies to us because we are prevented from attending Eucharistic celebrations. And so one of the practices that we can do this Lent is spiritual communions. You're encouraged to do it every single day, but in particular on Sunday with your family. And may God bless you. Amen.